Welcome to the Basketball Fiends Podcast, a proud member of the Our Esquina Podcast Network. My name is Jesus Acevedo Jr., coming to you from the Bayou City, otherwise known as Houston, Texas. And I'm joined as I am every week by Alex Aguilera, who's living it up in Chicago.
Yeah, we just had a winter storm, so it kind of sucks right now.
Maybe not so much living it up, but living it inside, cozy.
Yeah, well, actually, I was able to work from home today, so that worked out well.
Wow. Was it that bad? Were you like, yeah, just go on and stay home? It's too bad.
Yeah, my supervisor, he was like, hey, don't come into work. And I'm like, okay. I mean, he told me so.
That was fast, yeah.
Yeah, and so like this, this morning, I mean, it was raining a little bit, so like it started to freeze, and I'm like, okay. And then halfway through the day, snow starts coming down, and it starts getting windy. I'm like, oh, here's the snowstorm they were talking about. And yeah, I was like, ooh, yeah. Yeah, it worked out. I didn't go to work because it's shitty.
Well, the cold, wintry weather aside, at least Chicago have been warmed up by the play of the Chicago Bulls this season, Alex. And the Bulls are one of the surprises so far this season, and especially the play of DeMar DeRozan. But you know what? We're gonna get to the Bulls later on in this episode. But our first topic is first half NBA season surprises. Now we each picked a surprise. Something that has surprised us so far in this NBA season, Alex. And mine's, look, there are many surprises in the first half of the NBA season. We just talked about the Bulls, also the Cleveland Cavaliers being one of the top teams in the East, the Phoenix Suns just burning through the league to an NBA best 48-10, Ja Morant's ascension to superstar status, But for me, the surprise is that the current top two MVP candidates are once again Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid. Now, last season, Jokic won the award over Embiid, and deservedly so. But this season, the roles are reversed, Alex. So my surprise is that, once again, we have two big men battling for the MVP. And if you want to even throw in another big man, Giannis is probably third on the ballot. So for a league that's so wing dominant play, point guard dominant play, the three of the top five MVP candidates are big men. So that's my first half surprise is that, Jokic and Embiid are carrying on their stellar play from last season to this season. And that, this that it's not a league of big men, you say, but the kind of sort of resurgence of the big men as well.
Yeah, I mean, not to say that we didn't expect Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic to play at MVP caliber levels. I mean, we all know that. I mean, hell, Jokic won MVP last year, and
right.
Embiid's is arguably the best center in the league. So, but yeah, I mean, I think you make a nice point where I feel like in more recent years it's become more of a wing, more guard-driven league where the art of the big man has kind of been lost, similar to sort of the mid-range game, and to now sort of see that live on a little bit with Embiid and with Jokic kind of battling it out for the MVP. It's cool. I mean, it's refreshing. So it's a good surprise I see to still to see sort of that MVP bout carry on, into this year. So I think that, like you had mentioned, Embiid is, I would say, the favorite right now for MVP, and now people kind of can have that debate whether if Embiid didn't get hurt last year, would he have taken MVP? Hey, who knows? Maybe, but I mean, he went down and Jokic did his thing, and he still is doing his thing with the Denver Nuggets. But yeah, I mean, Embiid's just having a Jesus, like I put up his numbers because I was just like, hey, I know he's having a really good year, but like, how good of a year is he having? And it's like, damn, like he's putting up some huge numbers for Philly.
Now, if our listeners maybe not remember, but that was my MVP pick for this season was Joel Embiid, and I'm so mad at myself that I didn't bet on myself and put that money that I said that that I knew Joel Embiid was gonna have a good season. Carry it on from last season. I think he felt hurt that he didn't win MVP, but I think he understood because of those missed games. And I think that kind of, was just another something just added to him to be like, I'm going to come back strong because I want that MVP. And yes, right now he's the candidate. He's the leading candidate. Much like in how last season it was Jokic and Embiid was right there, it's just flip flop. And Embiid has taken that little extra step. But yeah, so that is my surprise of the first half. Alex, what's your surprise of the first half?
I'm gonna go with the New York Knicks. Now, for some of those who may be like, bro, like the Knicks suck, like bear with me. Okay, so
And I
I
mean
mean,
that is the surprise.
right, like they suck. Like it's like hey, I mean, look, last year, with that first round exit against Atlanta, I believe it was in what, 5 games?
Right, 5 games.
Right, it was 5 games. So I mean, not that you would have expected New York to make the run that Atlanta did last year, but you thought, hey, like, this is finally a Knicks team that's finding a resurgence now. That's finding some basketball relevance again. They aren't just the Knicks anymore. And in these coming years, it looks like Julius Randle's finally putting it all together. They got some veterans, a little bit of the Chicago Bulls with Thibodeau and Rose and Gibson and all them. You got Emmanuel quickly there as a young guy, RJ Barrett. They brought in Kemba Walker this year, which I think it was a move that people liked at first. And now the Knicks like just aren't good. Like they just blew a 28-point lead against a very I guess
Depleted
hurt.
Brooklyn Nets.
Right, there you go, depleted. That's the word I was looking for. A very depleted Brooklyn Nets team led by oh my god, the rookie. Jesus. I'm so
Cam
so so
Thomas,
bad. Cam Thomas, thank you.
who's
Cam
legit.
Thomas.
Who's
Right. Who is
legit.
legit? He put 16 points and put up 16 points in the fourth quarter with that dagger at the end. Like I've seen him pull up
Yeah.
like, whoa, well beyond the 3-point line. I'm like, what's this guy doing? And then he drains it. I'm like, oh, that's why. So yeah, I mean the Knicks are sitting at 25-34 right now, like last in their division. Not that we really care about division records, but I mean it is what it is. But yeah, I mean just the Knicks are being the Knicks again, and I kind of thought I think what Cleveland is doing right now this year is what I thought the Knicks were gonna be.
I definitely thought the Knicks were going to take a step up and continue the strong season they had last year, especially with Tom Thibodeau. I know in Tom Thibodeau's second season, usually teams take a step forward from that first season. But I think in this instance, it kind of turned the other way for Tom Thibodeau because I mean, you know very well, Tom Thibodeau is a hard coach to play under. If you don't, he's very hard nosed. He's going to get on you. But it's to make you a better player. But not all players uh, can take to that day in and day out, day in and day out, right? So maybe in this instance, it just players just got worn out of Tom Thibodeau's mannerisms. Granted, this is just me guessing. I have no inside knowledge. Knicks fans
No.
don't uh, but I'm just saying that could be one of the causes because yes, they came out of playing flat, just flat. All
Yeah.
that magic that we thought that the Knicks resurgence in basketball had come back. It was really just a flash in the pan. Just it's like to say, the sun shines on the dog's ass every once a day, or whatever that saying is,
Okay.
Yes, it's just they got lucky last season. It just is what it is. I mean, they're gonna
Yeah.
have to work their ways into the playing tournament. So look, they have a whole second half of the NBA season to do it, but there is definitely one surprise. And we're staying with the Knicks. Well, not Knicks. I'll say we're staying with in New York, and we're gonna go with the team that came back against the Knicks, the Brooklyn Nets. And more recently, Alex, we had Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner. He come out and made some ruckus about NYC's New York City's vaccine mandate. And look, and I understand why. He's upset that Kyrie Irving can't play. He said, "Why is it okay for visiting players to be able to play, but Kyrie can't?" And uh, I understand. He wants to have the NBA to have the best product possible. And Kyrie is one of the NBA's best players. He's someone the fans like to watch play. And currently, Kyrie has only played 14 games out of a possible 58 games. But I'll say this: look, those are the rules, right? As much as I understand Silver's point of view and why he wants, there it should change. This is the world we are living in at the moment. Irving chose not to get vaccinated, and look, that's his right. Just like it's the city's rights to have a vaccine mandate. Simple as that
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. I mean, look, there is actually for once a actual simple solution to to this issue, problem, if you want to even call it that, is if Kyrie gets vaccinated. And guess what? He's good to go. He can play in Brooklyn. He can play elsewhere. He doesn't have to worry about state mandates. Problem solved.
Mm.
But once again, like you mentioned, it is his choice. He has every right to make whatever choice uh, he wants to make. But in this case, this is the consequence of that decision. Uh, it's as state mandates, he can't play because he is unvaccinated. I believe the actual like rule or whatever is that a full time employee uh can't work in buildings or whatever. So regardless, either way, the rule applies to Kyrie, and therefore he cannot play in the New York City area. That includes Brooklyn, and Madison Square Garden. Like they're in New York. So I mean, I once again to your point, and I understand the oddity of it, where it's like,
Yeah.
hey, a visiting player could come in and play, and yet Kyrie actually lives in New York and he can't play. So like that, I get that doesn't make sense. It's like if the rule applies to Kyrie, then it should apply
Right.
to a visiting
And of
player
course,
that is
that I think
unvaccinated.
I think Silver was spot on with that. I think if
Right.
you're a visitor,
That's
yeah, spot on. Yeah.
right. Like that makes sense. It's like if it's that's the state mandate rule. It's like you know I get like Kyrie is not that he's a state employee that he lives in New York, but still, I mean it's unvaccinated player. Like I don't get how that applies. So we're good there. Like that doesn't make sense, and it is what it is. But at the same time, too, I mean, we all know, like just from a pure basketball standpoint, we would all love to see Kyrie play. It isn't like he's hurt or anything. A player of that caliber, of that talent, of that excitement, you want to see on the court, and unfortunately, just what's transpired. I mean, once again, it's his choice, but I mean, at the same time, too, it's like, hey, if he wants to play, if the people want to really see him play, you know what, at the end of the day, if he gets vaccinated, we don't have this discussion.
Here's the ripple effects of Kyrie not getting vaccinated. If he's vaccinated and is playing in most games this season, I don't think the Harden Simmons trade happens. Because I think the Harden Irving
Interesting.
pairing it more than keeps the Nets boat floating while KD is out with this current injury. And there were reports that Jimmy Harden was not happy with Irving's decision to not get vaccinated, because it meant that he had to carry more of the load, especially when Kevin Durant went out.
Yeah.
But look, it's a situation that everybody wants fix. Like I said, I would love to see Kyrie play. For everything that he is. He's a great basketball player. That's one thing that
Yeah, he's hella
he's
fun to
fun to
watch.
watch. He's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it'll be interesting to see where the role goes from here, because even the New York City mayor Eric Adams, he said, yeah, it's an unfortunate situation, but it is what the situation is right now.
Right.
And look, other players were in the same boat as Kyrie Irving, and they decided to go ahead and get vaccinated because they didn't want to miss out on games.
Right. Look at Andrew Wiggins.
Andrew Wiggins was come to mind. Yeah, Ben Simmons, he said, "I'll get vaccinated. I just want to play." Like
Right.
so I can respect that. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. I think well, I think what was both of us pricked the Nets to win the championships, and I think now we're not. It's not looking too good
Yeah.
on our end for that prophecy.
Right. Yeah. So we're definitely like way off on that, it seems, for now. So
For now. But something that I know all Chicago is on right now is on the Chicago Bulls. Alex, let us know how is the city feeling with the Chicago Bulls so far this season, especially with the news that Zach LaVine will be coming back playing with the Bulls again after the All-Star break, and he's actually participating in the All-Star break, and he was just medically cleared. What's the feeling in Chicago like, Alex?
well, I think more than anything, a sigh of relief, because there was a little chatter that the Bulls were kind of concerned with Levine's injury. I know it's his leg that he had injured a couple years back in Minnesota. When he tore the
Yeah.
ACL. So he's had some nagging issues with that. I think since then, not even just this year, Levine has sort of always had like a little discomfort with that leg, since that injury. But he's been able to play through it. I think just now it sort of got re-aggravated again, and just like a lot of caution, just like, hey, like we want to make sure this dude's
Right.
okay, because we're having a really good season, better than A lot of people expected. Probably the only people that would have expected this is probably the Bulls themselves, and even DeMar DeRozan. I don't know if you read that GQ article about him, but he's even just kind of like, "Yo, this is crazy. This is a wild year, but hey, I'm rolling with it. Like I'm just having fun." So I mean, yeah, I mean, as of right now, I think if what is it? I think if Miami, well, I think Miami won, so I want to say we're technically tied for first place with them in the East, but nonetheless, the Bulls sit atop the Eastern Conference standings. So we're tied with, excuse me, Miami, and I believe Milwaukee would then be second. I don't have the standings right in front of me, but yeah, I mean, just the Bulls are sort of clicking on all cylinders for the most part, and they're doing it with kind of a banged up team. This team has not really been healthy for a good portion of the year. Caruso, we're still waiting to see when he comes back from that wrist injuries. So, and I mean Lonzo Ball as well. We'll see whenever he's able to return. But yeah, for this team to still be tied for first is it's impressive.
They've had some help from a rookie from
Yeah,
Illinois
yeah,
University.
yeah, yeah.
Your boy, your former high school classmate, if I'm not
No,
mistaken, right?
oh my god, no! Like, the dude was a freshman, man. I didn't even know who he was. I just knew he had some kid who was good on the freshman basketball team. That was it.
But he's impressed. What's his name? Because I am gonna butcher his name. I know you're gonna
Ayo,
pronounce it better than me.
Ayo Desumu.
Ayo Sumu. He's had some good games here and there in
Yeah,
Spurs. Coach has been able to use him really well. And look, he's made use of the time.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
like you said, the Bulls got hit with some injuries, and they needed some people to step up, and they have. Uh, I mean, none more so than DeMar DeRozan.
Oh my
Just
god,
the king of the mid range. Like he's
I
just
love it. I love
killer on the mid range. Like I don't think I've seen a mid range like that since Kobe. Probably like just so smooth footwork. Just turn on. It's just like when you feel like he's putting up for the mid range, you're like that's going in.
right.
It's
Like it's
it's
money.
like when you see Steph Curry shoot for the three, you're almost like, well, it's always going in. That's what I think about the Omar DeRozan. When he gets in the mid range, I'm like, it's over. Like it's just that he knows how to operate.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah, and I was sad to see Caruso hurt because he was a good pickup for them and he was playing well for the Bulls too. He was
Yeah,
playing really good. But look, as long as they're healthy by the playoffs, I think that's what matters. Because let's be honest, the Eastern Conference is gonna be a battle.
yeah,
These playoffs, a battle, and
yeah.
I don't think I've said that in a long time about the Eastern Conference. Usually, it's the West, but I mean, top to bottom, I have the standings. Miami and Chicago tied 38 and 21. Then you got the Bucks and the Cavs at 36 and 23. Cavs 35-23. Philadelphia at 34-23. So they're right there. And then you got
Right.
Boston, who I thought about making Boston a talking point because they are on a run right now. Boston is
Yeah.
on a run right now. I know they just lost, but they were 91 over the last 10 games. And then
Mm-hmm.
Raptors, and then Nets. If the Nets get healthy, because at least if you have KD, you're always dangerous, right? And then
Right.
Hornets, Hawks. I have a feeling they're Hornets, Hawks, Wizards. Maybe 9-10 won't be as tough, but everybody else, it's gonna be a battle to get to the final. So I think
Dude.
Bulls, you know, I they need to have everybody healthy for the playoffs,
Yeah.
especially when they go up against
Yeah.
some of these strong teams like the Bucks, the Heat. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna need everybody.
Yeah, no, the Bull. I mean, granted, the Bulls are have been a strong team throughout, but they need to get healthy if they want to compete in a 7 game series with the likes of Philly, with the likes of Milwaukee, with the likes of Miami. I'm not sure if the team right now, if they go up against Miami in a 7 game series, I'm not 100% confident they
Ooh,
pull it off. I mean, they'll
because like
squeeze in a couple games, they'll win one or
against
two, but a full
Miami,
seven.
against
Yeah,
Miami, every game is game 7 for Miami. Like they're
yeah,
just going out. There's some dogs out there. Yeah, man. Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You need healthy bodies.
Yeah, so I mean, it's good to see that the Bulls can hold their own with guys out, but come playoff time, hopefully by then, guys will be back fully healthy and they'll have played games with each other that they can get back into the groove of things. That way, Caruso coming off the bench, even though he's probably been playing starter minutes, Lonzo Ball. getting him back into that starting role with Isle probably, coming off the bench again, or, Kobe White, once again, Zach LaVine being healthy, Nikola Vucevic, he's finding his groove again. The Bulls just picked up Tristan Thompson because they were in need of a big guy, and actually he's been having an okay year. So, I'm not too mad at that, but probably, my mom might not like it, but that's okay. So, but yeah, I mean, it's right now the Bulls are in a good spot.
Right.
Considering the circumstances, a very good spot. But yeah, I think come playoff time, if they're healthy, then yeah, that's a scary team.
Speaking of the Eastern Conference, we were talking earlier about Joel Embiid and Giannis and how they're up there with the MVP conversation. We should say we're recording this Thursday night. So the Philadelphia 76ers and the Milwaukee Bucks just finished their game. The 76ers pulled it off at the end, 123 to 120. Joel Embiid, 42 points, 14 rebounds. That's the current MVP candidate top getter. Giannis, 32 points, 11 rebounds. Man, I cannot wait for the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. That's also going to be so fun.
Jeez.
Oh my god! But speaking of big men, one big man that we have yet to really see since he got drafted in 2019 is Zion Williamson, Alex, and some more bad news, sad news, just overall. Christian Clerk of the Times-Picayune reported that Zion Williamson may need another foot surgery. And earlier this week, Brian Windhorst said on ESPN's Get Up that a couple weeks ago, the New Orleans coaching staff and its players were made aware not to expect Zion back for the foreseeable future. Took that to mean for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And it's just, you got to start to wonder, it's 3 seasons in.
Yeah.
It's especially when you see what Ja Morant's doing and how he's elevated the Grizzlies, and that's what Zion was supposed to do for the Pelicans, was elevate them to where Memphis is right now. Like I said, one of the surprises has been Ja Morant's surge. He's a superstar.
Not to me. I've talked about Ja Morant on this podcast. I love Ja Morant from the start. Oh, yeah. So I'm not surprised. I'm just probably surprised by the fact that it was this quick, but still.
Yeah, that for sure has been a surprise. No, but look, everybody, I don't think there's one person that doesn't like Ja Morant. But this was supposed to be Zion. This is supposed to be Zion. So it's before there's one thing that I wanted to say. I don't know if I have a bone to pick with this guy, but I didn't. This article he wrote, right? So the guy, Moke Hamilton, a senior writer and editor for basketballnews.com, wrote a story titled, "Is Zion Williamson the next Yao Ming?" Now, right off the bat, from the headline alone, I'm like, that's a bad take, right? I mean, I saw Yao Ming play. I witnessed his career, right? But I was like, you know what? Let me read the story. Now, here's the thing. The only reason Moke makes the comparison of Zion and Yao is because they both entered the league with a lot of hype, only to be derailed by injuries. But, and it's a big but, Zion wishes he had the successful early NBA career of Yao. Here's why. The highlight of Yao's early NBA career is he only missed 2 games in his first 3 seasons. 2 games in 3 seasons. Zion has only played in 24 games in his rookie season and then played 61 games in his second season. He has missed 117 games. So that's my gripe with Moke Hamilton is there's no way you can compare Zion and Yao, because we still haven't even seen what Zion can do. We've seen glimpses of it. Yao Ming, he showed us what he can do in those first 3 years. Yes, he got hurt. He came back and he kept showing us what he could do. So
for a little bit, like Yao Ming was really good. That's why we sort of remember him as that. Like, damn, if he stood healthy a little bit longer, because when he played, like he was good. Like you seen enough of Yao Ming that he was up there as one of the best centers in the league. In his prime, he went toe to toe with Shaq here and there. Like even Shaq has said it himself. He's like, hey man, like Yao gave me problems here and there. So that's a weird take. I don't know why Yao. Like I don't know why of all players, he's just like, oh yeah, Yao Ming. It's like that's not a name that pops to mind. But one name that I've been seeing is already. I think when you think of bust, it's Greg Oden,
That
and
I have that name on my notes. I swear. Yes,
so
exactly. That's
so
a better comparison that Mo Hamilton of
yeah.
basketballnews.com could have made.
So I mean, I understand that comparison. I know coming in like Greg Oden, all this hype coming out of Ohio State, and I think to his credit, like when he played with Portland, I think when it was him, Brandon Roy and LaMarcus Aldridge, when they were all on the floor, like they were really good. It's just that they didn't spend a lot of time together because they were not well. Greg Oden, I mean, he really couldn't stay healthy, but when he was on the floor, like he was pretty solid, and unfortunately, injuries derailed that what if career for him. But I mean, as far as to say like, oh, like everyone's saying like, oh man, Zion's the next Greg Oden, here we go, like I already see it. It's like, all right, I mean, yes, he's hurt. Do i do you feel concerned about it year three? Yeah, a little bit. For at some point we thought that he was going to come back this season, and to pretty much hear that he probably won't be coming back, it's like, all right, year four, you've only gotten barely a year out of him. So you said what, he played 24 games his rookie year and then 61 his second year. So I mean, I'm really bad at math and I'm not going to do that math. But that's pretty much like one season. It
It's about 86, 85 games, I think, if my math stands correct. Or it's in that
Okay.
region, the 85
Right. So
region.
about a season.
Sure. About a
He's
season.
right. He's
About a
entering year
season
four.
in a playing tournament.
Right, about a season and a playing tournament, and that's pretty much all we've seen of Zion so far. So
Now
I
here's
think. Well, go ahead. Go
here's
ahead.
something.
I've been talking a lot.
So I was, no, as I was doing my research, and I found this from online on Reddit from the user P Singer 6. So shout
Oh,
out Reddit user P Singer 6. He pointed this out. If Zion Williamson does in fact miss the rest of the season, he would have played only 3 more games than Greg Oden through their first 3 seasons. Just 3 more games than Greg Oden through the first season, through the first
yeah,
3 seasons. So the comparison is there, and it's a perfect comparison, especially when you go back to the draft class, right? Greg Oden was 2007 draft class. Who was drafted number 2?
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant. Game changer, right? A game
Yeah,
changer for a franchise. Changed the Seattle Sonics and then OKC Thunder franchise. Who was the second pick in the 2019 draft?
John Morant. Come on, man. You're like, dude, I remember we had this
but
conversation. We were talking about
but
Zion and John. Bro, like I love
I
John. But
think
go ahead.
I think I said this in an earlier episode is the 2019 draft could end up being similar to that 2007 draft if Zion is never able to turn it around. And look, we feel bad for Zion. Like we want to
Yeah,
see him play. We saw him play at Duke. We were like, oh my god, we can't wait to see this man in the NBA. So we all NBA fans want to see him. NBA media, like everybody. I'm sure the opposing players want to see him just to go up against this guy.
yeah,
But I will say this: there's hope for Zion. And
yeah.
this is how I bring it all full circle. Alex, check this out. There's hope for Zion, right? Another promising big man that struggled with injuries in his early years
Joel Embiid.
is Joel Embiid.
Yeah,
But he only played in 31 games in his first 3 seasons. Says, look at him now. Look at him
yeah.
now. So it's not over for Zion Williamson. And look,
No,
if he has to get this surgery this year and miss the rest of the season for him to come back fully healthy and ready next season, do it. Shut him down. Shut him down.
yeah,
Even if the Pelicans are making a run at the plane, that's fine. Let that team grow together and just imagine that team. If it learns how to win, maybe sneaks a win in the plane, and the next season you add in Zion fresh. Watch out. So shut him down. That's fine. And I think Joel Embiid is but hopefully a better comparison we're making 2 years from now, Alex.
right. Yeah, and I see you pretty much took what I was gonna say is that like everyone's making the Greg Oden comparisons, and it's like, hey, we're over here talking about Joel Embiid winning MVP when early on in his career, he didn't play like the first 2 years of his career, like at
Yeah.
all. Like he was out his
At
first two
all.
seasons, and everyone's like, "Oh,
He's a bust.
he's the boss." Oh, the process didn't even get going. Trust the process. The process didn't even start, and here he is. He's in year like what, six,
6'7", I
seven,
think, if I'm not
six,
mistaken. Yeah.
7. All right, and he's arguably the best center in the league. So I mean, to like once again, you're concerned, you're worried about Zion because obviously you want him to be healthy. You want to see this talent blossom and see what he becomes fully healthy in this league. But once again, like he's young, man. Like there's still time, for him to get healthy. Whenever he comes back in, he's good to go. Like we can judge whether or not you want to call him a bust or not when he's on the floor. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's the case, that we can see him do his thing. And hey, when he's been on the floor so far in the league, like he's been pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie,
Exactly. When
as a
he's
John
been on
Moran
the
guy,
floor. When
right?
he's been on the floor. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, it's a we'll see. All right. I mean, there's
We'll see.
only time will tell. But yeah, it's just I just it just kind of irks me when I hear the, oh, here we go, Greg Oden again. It's like, until we're there, like let's see what happens, because he still has to get surgery, so we'll go from there, man. Only time will tell, man.
So I love to see Zion Williamson in the dunk contest, the All Star Game dunk contest, which is
Yeah,
making a comeback
him, and-
this year,
him and
Alex.
Ja,
It's making a
him and Ja, they
him,
both need
John
it.
Moran. They both need to be there. But
Mm.
I am glad my Houston Rockets, Jalen Green, he will be
Actually, he's
there.
my
It's
pick. He's my pick.
he's my picture, man.
He's my pick.
He's got some speed boosters and some air in his shoes, man. He just whoo. It should be a good slam dunk contest. So, are you looking forward to All Star weekend?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I always look like every year I always have All Star Weekend like circled on my calendar. I'm like, yes. Like I remember one year, like it actually fell on Valentine's Day, and I was like, I don't need no Valentine. I got All Star Weekend, or it was an All Star game, or Saturday night, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's always just, I don't know, for some reason, like I've always had a soft spot for All Star Weekend. It's just cool to just see all these big names just all in one place, and for the most part, they always like to participate in the festivities. Like the Rising Stars game, I feel like has always been kind of good. And just seeing like the names that were in that game and where they're at now, where it's like, hey, a lot of the guys that are probably like starting in the All Star game were in that Rising Stars game on Friday night.
Right.
And like Saturday night, I feel like with the dunk contest, since you mentioned it, it's like we always have like that one good year, and then like the next 3 to 4 years are kind of just like, man. So like, was it 2016 was really good? That was the Aaron Gordon Zach Levine
Oh yeah.
showdown. Like that was incredible. And then the dunk contest fell off for the next couple years, and then in 2020, right before the pandemic, at the United Center. That one was another good one with Aaron Gordon and Derrick Jones Jr. going at it. And then, yeah, since then it's been kind of so we'll see if this year. That's why I'm hoping
We're
Jalen
due.
Green, right? We're due to have another good dunk contest. But yeah, it's we always go through the dunk contest. They need to get rid of it. It's done. Like it's just so boring. And then we have one good year that's really good, and then we're like, oh, the dunk contest is back, and then it sucks for like the next 2-3 years, whatever, 3-4.
Here's an idea, and NBA, if you're listening to me to the show, which you should, check this out. This is an idea for free, and this is the last thing we'll talk about for this episode. Here's what the NBA should do. You've been on social media, Alex. You've seen some of these dunks that some of these basketball players do on the court. Not the NBA players or college basketball players. I'm talking about just about street hoopers. You see some of the dunk that they do, and it's some very creative dunks, very
Yeah.
creative dunks that people in the NBA could do with their skills. But here's what I think they should do. The NBA should do a reality show on their NBA channel, right? Where you have
Reality
different
show.
parts, yeah, where you have different participants, street hoopers, ballers, right? They're trying to get into the dunk contest in the NBA. So it's almost like a March Madness kind of tournament, right? And the fans vote on who advances. And the final two winners or the final winner gets to compete the dunk contest with some of the NBA players. And that'll create
Mm.
a buzz that'll have people turn in to watch, people. Because, man, I've seen some clips where I'm like, people done some. I can't even explain some of the dunks I've seen, but I've seen some dunks that are pretty creative. And I think that's something that will just keep the slam dunk contest fresh and new. So just an idea, NBA, take it.
Yeah, we'll see. I just feel like you have like some pro dunkers that like literally that's their job, that's their profession, is just to do wild dunks, and you're just like, if you do that guy in with some NBA players, like he's probably gonna win
Make
by
it a challenge.
because
Make it a challenge.
that's his job. That's his
Make
job.
it a challenge to the NBA players, you know.
I guess.
But that is the 47th episode of the Basketball Fiends. Thank you so much for listening to us. Come back. We're almost there to 50. It's gonna be a monumentous episode. Watch it. It's gonna be probably one of our most sorriest episodes now because I just built it all up. But
it's gonna be so basic.
It's gonna be so basic. Episode 50, just basic.
Right.
But thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. See ya.
Deuces.